Newt Gingrich here, and I'd like to invite you to listen to my podcast, Newt's World. Most people know me as the former Speaker of the House, but I'm also a historian with a wide range of interests. I enjoy talking with fascinating people who are doing extraordinary things. I release 3 episodes of Newt's World every week, and I want to invite you to listen. Hopefully, we'll both learn something new. Listen to Newt's World on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast.
Right, Hour 2, Sean Hannity Show. Yep, we are only 5 days until the all-important midterm elections. Thanks for being with us. It's 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of this extravaganza. So we have not paid a lot of attention to the state of New Hampshire until recently, the last month or so. We were noticing that the current Democratic Senator, Maggie Hassan, had been slipping dramatically in the polls, and a guy by the name of General Don Bolduc has been rising in the polls. Now he's up by 1 point in the latest poll that I saw out of New Hampshire. Had a great debate last night against Maggie Hassan. Before the debate, as General Bolduc, he has 2 Purple Hearts, 5 Medals of Valor. Anyways, he was going into the debate. A guy tried to attack him, and here's what he said about it.
I think Senator Hassan made some very great points right there, and I'm really sorry for what happened to the Speaker's husband. Nobody should have that happen to them anywhere in America, but it's a sign of the times. It's a sign of political problems, Republicans and Democrats, that fuel issues with people, that get them to the point where they are just so upset at an individual that they strike out at them. Happened to me outside just before I came in here, right? This is wrong, and it needs to be stopped.
Anyway, so that was said during the debate last night. Anyway, joining us now, New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu is with us, as well as Senate candidate, Republican General Don Bolduc is back with us. General, I hope you're okay. I know the guy took a swing at you. Did he make any contact at all?
No, I was able to successfully avoid any contact. I'm grateful for the police being right there and handling the situation. So, all is good. Everything.
I know you're tough. I think you've done, 10 tours of duty. You have 2 Purple Hearts. You have 5 Medals of Valor and many other military decorations. So I know you're used to war zones. I guess you didn't expect it outside of a debate for the U.S. Senate.
No, it's not something that you expect, but, you're always on guard for it, given the times. So, it's more about the debate, and it's more about beating Maggie Hassan on Tuesday. Yeah.
Let me bring in Governor Sununu. Governor, thank you for being with us. By the way, your dad is probably in the top 0.0001% of people with raw intelligence in the country. He's brilliant. I found it a little intimidating over the years dealing with your dad. He's so smart.
Yeah, well, like I always say, try bringing a report card home to that guy, right? Talk about intimidating.
I don't think I'd be up for that, but especially if I was, working full time like I did for a big part of my high school years and college years. Anyway, Governor, thanks for being with us. I'm looking at your success. Here's a state in New England, and you have the highest approval rating of any governor in New England. You're leading your race by, double digits, nearly 20%. I mean, that's almost unheard of in polling. And then I look at the way you govern, and you govern as a common sense conservative, and the principles of which you govern, and you're being rewarded for being a common sense conservative. And then I look at, for example, the Senator Hassan. I mean, I listened very closely to her last night. I wasn't really that familiar with her, and she is as hardcore new Green Deal radical socialist as I've ever heard, the exact opposite of you. How does New Hampshire reconcile that?
Well, you're seeing it play out in this Senate race, right? So look, I just try to be genuine. I don't ask everyone to agree with me on every issue, but you got to go talk to them, and you got to listen, and you got to engage. And you got someone on the line with you in General Bolduc who's had like 75 town halls, not a controlled atmosphere, just saying, hey, anyone who wants to come and talk, let's talk. And that's what New Hampshire is all about. Just the opposite with Senator Hassan. She won't engage. She won't have press conferences, and even in those controlled atmospheres, definitely won't have town halls. God forbid someone should to ask her a question off the cuff. And folks understand that. They're seeing it. So she has spent like, what, $50 million or something outrageous with all these attack ads and extremist type things. No one's buying it because we have to, in New Hampshire, we have to buy into you as a person first, even before we get to the policy. Well, we can't even do that if we don't have the opportunity to engage with you. And so I take that very seriously. Obviously, the General Bolduc has done a phenomenal job over the past couple of years, constantly going out. I think he's got 2 more town halls coming this weekend or something. He's just always out there, and she's not. And that's really the differentiator. So it's been part of my success. Again, not just because we're doing great as a state. We are, and I'm very proud of that. But it's about how we do it. And I think the General's taken that same approach. I think that's why you're going to see a big win for the U.S. Senate race and General Bolduc on Tuesday.
And this was something I think most of the country was not looking for. General, you have been out there. You did do the 75 town halls, and you are doing more, and you're out there pressing the flesh, which I think every politician should do. Why does Senator Hassan not have a desire to meet with people? And last night, what really struck me more than anything else, she wouldn't answer any question that was given to her, and you rightly pointed that out. She's asked, do you support any restrictions on abortion? For example, even 24 weeks. She wouldn't answer the question because the answer is she supports no restrictions at all, meaning a woman could have an abortion up until the moment of birth, which everybody thinks is extreme.
Well, yeah, you're exactly right, Sean. It is just the style. It's as if she wants to lose, and she's just going through the motions by, showing up. I have 2 town halls today, and I have town halls every day up until the day of the election. And I just finished one with Matt and Mercedes Schlapp. We got another one with them as well. I mean, this is as the governor said, a grassroots campaign, and I'm appreciative of his support and leadership. I needed that. I needed the governor's support, and he's given that. And not only has he given it to me, but he's given it to the other candidates, particularly at the state level, which is critical. And we need victories up and down the ballot all the way with Republicans, and the unifying of not only Republicans, but his strengths are that he touches just about the entire electorate, and he does it with more support than anybody else running, and just having him on our team is a good thing.
I'll add that I think a lot of Republican candidates can learn an awful lot from Governor Sununu. There's no doubt about it. Governor, I'm really worried. I'm worried about the people in New England. There was a report first. I first saw it in the Epic Times. The Wall Street Journal has followed up with it about how New England may have blackouts this winter because they don't have enough natural gas to even power the grid. And on average, we're anticipating a minimum of a 30% increase for people in New England and all across the country to heat their homes this winter, whether you have natural gas or oil heat. How bad is it?
It's real. It is very real. And I know a lot of governors are across New England. They're, always want to just try to look everything through rose-colored glasses. But I can tell you, we're all tied in New England to the same electrical grid. So when Connecticut and Massachusetts and Rhode Island, they shut down natural gas plants and they do this sort of Green New Deal type stuff, it impacts everybody. And we all have to pay for it. And then you combine that with the perfect storm of an administration that is doesn't incentivize increased production out of the Marcellus Shale. All of our natural gas goes through Albany, New York. Think about that. For New England, all of the natural gas goes through a couple pipes through Albany, New York. So we're really limited there. Now, traditionally, you get a cold snap. We need more natural gas. Production increases out of the Marcellus Shale. There's no incentive to do that now, right? Because we're begging Saudi Arabia and folks across the world that do things, frankly, with less environmental controls than we do, to pump more oil and stuff like that. And so at the end of the day, New England as a whole is really suffering. Then you have the issues happening in Ukraine. So it's a perfect storm for us, but it's all driven on the backs of really bad policy. And that is ultimately what people are going to vote on. I had it out over the weekend with Chuck Todd, you might have heard, and I said, look, man, you're living in a bubble.
Wait. I gotta add this. Oh, yeah. You own Chuck Todd. I mean, Chuck Todd, and you had him twisted up like a pretzel. It was great to watch.
Well, you look, it's national media, Look, the idea.
Well, I'm not that easy to turn into a pretzel, Governor. It's a little harder with me, but I'm on your side.
I try, brother. But look, the national media on that side of the aisle is so convinced that people are going to be worried about what happened 2 years ago. People are worrying about what's happening today and the opportunities for their kids 2 years from now. People vote for the future, and they vote in their self-interest. They vote selfishly, as they should, by the way, right? You should go to the polls, Sean, and you should vote exactly what is in the best interest of your family. That's the whole point. And when people are struggling to make a mortgage or a car payment or put food on the table, it really does matter, which is why there's going to be such a surge. People are upset. I'm not saying those other things shouldn't be discussed and figured out. Okay, fine. But the top priority is inflation and cost. This administration has driven it. We're feeling it with the electricity prices, gas prices, lack of kerosene and heating oil. That's a reality that's going to come this January when it gets really cold out. And folks have had enough, and that's why they want to change. You can't ask Washington to change and keep sending the same people back, right? That's just not going to happen. And that's where you're going to see a whole lot of new faces down in D.C. in a couple of weeks.
I hope you're right. General Bolduc, Americans now are at a 41-year high of inflation. We now are paying the highest gas prices we've ever paid, and it's about to go higher because Joe Biden already depleted the strategic petroleum reserves. This threat to New England in terms of A, having a blackout, and B, not having enough natural gas and oil for people to heat their homes, that should scare the living daylights out of everybody in New England and, frankly, all across the country that needs heat.
Well, you're absolutely right. And if you listen to Senator Hassan last night, you'll see that she's not focused on anything. She didn't talk about inflation. She didn't talk about supply chain. She didn't talk about the shortages of diesel, the shortages of natural gas, kerosene, the whole 9 yards, fentanyl, the border situation, or anything until I pulled her back into reality. She kept trying to deflect them. She didn't answer any questions. And that should be foremost in everybody's mind. Hey, bring your gas bill, bring your food bill, bring your oil bill, bring your diesel bill, bring it in with you to vote and look at it. And then imagine that doubling in December and January. We have a moral imperative to change what's going on in Washington, D.C. And the governor hit the nail right on the head, everything that he said. And the only way to change this is to send different people to Washington, D.C. that care about their state and that are going to work seamlessly with the state and the people in the state and not cater to special interest lobbyists and the wealthy political elite like she does as a career politician.
All right, quick break. We'll have more with New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu and New Hampshire Republican Senate candidate General Don Bolduc, who's now taken a lead over the incumbent Democrat, a radical leftist. I had no idea how left she was until that debate last night, Maggie Hassan, as we continue on the other side. We continue. Governor Chris Sununu of the great state of New Hampshire, the Granite State, is with us, as well as Republican Senate candidate General Don Bolduc, who is now taking a lead. Both of them will be on Hannity tonight, 9 Eastern on the Fox News Channel. Governor, how important is it to you to have a partner in Washington that you can work with, especially on the issues we're talking about? And that would be inflation, that would be energy, that would be open borders, that would be woke education versus classical education. I know that it's not impacting your state, but, this insanity of defund, dismantle, no bail laws that Joe Biden and most Democrats now support is a disaster everywhere it's tried.
Yeah, look, it's amazing. At the state level, New Hampshire, we're such ticket jumpers because it's about the individual, not just about party. And so at the state level, for the majority of my time, I've had folks, Republicans to work with. On the federal level, I've never had a partner. I've never had a single Republican partner on the federal level as part of our delegation, and I couldn't be more excited. And by the way, I think General Bolduc's going to win on Tuesday. I think Caroline Leavitt's going to win in CD1 very handily, which is exciting. I think even Bob Burns in CD2 has a chance as well. So we could have a trifecta sweep on the federal level. And God willing, and I win my race as well, and we hold the House and the Senate. Folks, like I said, they're going to vote in their interest. They know Republicans are about limited government, right? Lower taxes, local control, a power back to the states, and the states send the power back to the local towns and the school boards and the parents. I mean, making sure parents have that say. Those are the fundamentals that we believe in, that we vote our passions on, and that are ultimately what America is searching for, especially here in New Hampshire. So I couldn't be more excited. It's going to be a great, like everything, it's a great team effort.
You know, we're going to know New Hampshire's results probably pretty early in the night next Tuesday. The good news is we get to continue this conversation. Governor Sununu and General Bolduc will be on our show tonight on Hannity 9 Eastern. I really wish the best for the people in your state. I hope you can resolve this real energy crisis that is coming this winter. And we love the people in New Hampshire, live free or die. By the way, that would be a great title for a book if anyone ever thought of it.
That's right.
But anyway, listen, Governor, thank you. Congratulations on the great job you're doing for the people of New Hampshire. General, we're pulling for you on Tuesday, and this would be the first opportunity the governor ever had to work with a Republican in the U.S. Senate. I think that would be great for the people of New Hampshire, and we wish you both the best. Thank you.
Newt Gingrich here, and I'd like to invite you to listen to my podcast, Newt's World. Most people know me as the former Speaker of the House, but I'm also a historian with a wide range of interests. I enjoy talking with fascinating people across a variety of topics. On Newt's World, we've had some extraordinary guests join us, like former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger.
Ending the war in Vietnam was a necessity in order to help heal the divisions in the country.
John Clifton, the CEO of Gallup.
The world has been winning the war against hunger for 4 decades. In 2014, it switched. We have a serious hunger crisis.
And House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy.
What I've really found the Republican Party to be, it's the party of the people, the working people of America.
I release 3 episodes of Newt's World podcast every week, and I hope you'll find my conversations engaging and informative, and hopefully we'll both learn something new. Listen to Newt's World on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast. Newt Gingrich here, and I'd like to invite you to listen to my podcast, Newt's World. Most people know me as the former Speaker of the House, but I'm also a historian with a wide range of interests. I enjoy talking with fascinating people across a variety of topics. On Newt's World, we've had some extraordinary guests join us, like former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger.
Ending the war in Vietnam was a necessity in order to help heal the divisions in the country.
John Clifton, the CEO of Gallup.
The world has been winning the war against hunger for 4 decades. In 2014, it switched. We have a serious hunger crisis.
And House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy.
What I've really found the Republican Party to be, it's the party of the people, the working people of America.
I release 3 episodes of Newt's World podcast every week, and I hope you'll find my conversations engaging and informative, and hopefully we'll both learn something new. Listen to Newt's World on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast.
Be sure to check in as soon as you get to your car after work for breaking information you need to know about. This is the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, 25 to the top of the hour. Toll free our numbers, 800-941-SEAN if you want to join us. So I made this pledge and promise to all of you that every single race we're putting in play on this show, we're not taking any race for granted. I'm urging people to just assume that your vote is going to be the final vote that would lead to victory for the candidate of your choice. All of these races we're talking about, you look in Georgia, you look in Pennsylvania, you look in, we just talked to Governor Sununu and Don Bolduc, and it's a 1-point race for Don Bolduc in New Hampshire. You look at Oz, the latest poll has him up by a couple. Herschel Walker only up by a couple. Ron Johnson only up by a couple. Adam Laxalt only up by a couple. The same thing, Mark Kelly and Blake Masters are in a dead heat in Arizona. I don't know what's going to happen in the state of Washington, but we're not ignoring it. Tiffany Smiley's turned out to be a phenomenal candidate. They're now dead even out there, even in the state of Washington. We have a new poll out today by Trafalgar, and it now shows in the state of Colorado, pretty blue state, Michael Bennet, the incumbent Democrat, has 47.6% of the vote. And Joe O'Dea, who we've had on this show a couple of times, is now at 46% in this race. So it's within the margin of error. It's a 1-2 point race in all of these states. That's why I'm urging everybody, you need this sense of urgency that your vote is really going to matter this year, that getting involved is really going to matter. If you care about inflation and interest rates, and you care about unprecedented gas prices, if you care about open borders, if you care about law and order and safety and security and are sick of this defund, dismantle, no bail madness, if you're tired of your kids getting a woke education versus a classical education, you have an opportunity in 5 days to do something about it. So anyway, we're paying attention to every race all over the country. We're ignoring nothing. I humbly admit my mistake in the election last year. Nobody had any indication that New Jersey would be as close as it became. We were all pretty much focused on the Commonwealth of Virginia, where Glenn Youngkin ran away with it in the end. And Virginia is now a blue state. And Youngkin won by 7, 8 points by the end of the day. We could have won New Jersey had we paid more attention to it, so we're not going to make that mistake this year. That's why we're even paying attention to Connecticut. I didn't think I'd be paying attention to the state of Washington, I can tell you that. And Colorado, once a reliably red state, has gone pretty solidly blue. But in this election year, it's definitely in play. Anyway, Joe O'Dea is the Republican Senate candidate. This is the latest ad that he put out, that he is an outsider looking out for the people of Colorado versus a swamp creature or somebody that lives in the sewer known as Washington, D.C.
Democrats are spending millions trying to smear Joe O'Dea. Why? Because career politician Michael Bennet is their yes man. Joe O'Dea is his own man. O'Dea's about action. Secure the border. Get tough on crime. Attack inflation. Keep our promise to seniors. Joe O'Dea, an outsider, not a politician. Honor, integrity, authentic leadership. Joe O'Dea.
I'm Joe O'Dea, and I approve this message.
All right, Joe O'Dea, the Republican Senate candidate, the great state of Colorado, joins us now. I think you've got the Democrats running scared because I see that they're dumping a whole lot of money into the state of Colorado, trying to smear and slander you. And most of your life, you've been a hardworking guy that pays his taxes, raises his family, obeys the laws, and for some reason, they're trying to find something on you, and they can't find anything.
They can't find anything, Sean. Thanks for having me on, but they're spending $35 million telling lies about me. You know, my wife and I, we got into this race because we've lived the American dream here in Colorado. Started a company out of nothing, out of our basement here 35 years ago. We employ 300 great Americans in our company, and we've seen the American dream, and that's why I got in this race, is it's leaving us. These Democrats are trying to take that away. They don't want that dream for our kids or our grandkids, and I couldn't stand by any longer. I'm just a regular guy, not a politician. I'm a contractor, but we can do more for Colorado. Michael Bennett's a stamp. 98% of the time he votes with Biden. He's wrong on every policy, whether it's inflationary, whether it's war on energy, whether it's crime. He's been wrong on everything, and Coloradans are ready for something different.
Well, I can see that. And like every other state, the issues that I just mentioned, and that's record high inflation, high interest rates, record high gas prices, now even a shortage of energy coming this winter, which should scare every American that wants to heat their home this winter. Prices are going to be dramatically higher than they were last winter. And that's on top of the $7,200 on average that American households are paying in Biden inflation. So things are getting harder. People are tired of open borders. People are tired of woke education. People are tired of, defund, dismantle, and no bail laws that are resulting in, more innocent people getting hurt and killed, and record levels of violence in states adopting this insanity. What are the main issues you're facing out there? What are people telling you when you're out on the campaign trail?
Well, we just finished a debate last week, and I gave Senator Bennett an opportunity to talk about this inflationary spending that he's been on, $5 trillion here in the last 2 years, and it was crickets. I said, do you regret the spending? He didn't answer the question. He wouldn't, because he's with his party 98% of the time. And what people are talking about on the ground here is the cost of groceries. I was in the grocery store just 2 days ago. Lady had about $220 worth of things in her grocery cart. She had to take $20 out because that was her budget. Those are the kind of things we're seeing here in Colorado, not to mention the crime. We just had 12 shootings over the weekend in Colorado.
In Colorado, you can't believe it, 30% hike in crime. People are talking about we're the third most violent state in the nation. That's not the Colorado I grew up in, and that's why we've got to make a change. We've got to end this Biden regime. We've got to take back this Senate, and I'm ready to do it. We're going to shock America on November 8th when Colorado turns red again.
The issues Democrats are running on are all the ones that I predicted at the beginning of this election year. January 6th, and I hate Donald Trump, the Dobbs decision, and they're running on Republicans are racist, sexist, misogynistic, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, transphobic. They want dirty air and water, and they're going to steal grandma and grandpa's Social Security and cut it, and cut Medicare, and cut veterans benefits, all of which is a lie. What lies are they telling out there?
Well, they're so out of touch. They started telling people that I'm going to take away Social Security. That's not true. I'll back our people. I'm going to make sure that Social Security stays intact. Same with Medicare. They just create all kinds of rhetoric here. They're talking about January 6th. They're talking about anything to do with Trump. They have Trump dysphoria, if you will. They can't talk about anything else. They're missing the point. We've got a referendum going here on Joe Biden and Michael Bennet, and it's going to be on this economy. And this economy is crushing working Americans, small business owners, middle class, single parents that are having to work two jobs, retirees that have watched their 401k just evaporate. Those are the people I'm talking to, and they're fired up. They're ready for a change this November 8th.
The people put together that ever since Joe Biden came into office, that it's his economic policies, his energy policies that have caused these problems, him abandoning the Trump border policies, again, another preventable disaster. Joe Biden's, woke climate agenda has cost Americans a fortune, now resulting in America begging for the lifeblood of our economy. Are they putting it together in Colorado? Because, by the way, a lot of cold areas in Colorado in the winter. Not exactly fun.
No, we're going to get those first heating bills here this month. It started to cool off. And I'm telling you, people are feeling the pinch. They're asking me, Joe, can you take us back just 22 months ago when we had $2.38 gas, we had $3.50 diesel, and we had gas that we could afford to heat our homes. And that's where
a 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 2.7%. Now it's 7.2% and going to go higher based on yesterday's Fed move, which is another 75 basis point increase, 0.75 of a point increase in interest rates. So that means we're headed now towards an 8% mortgage, 30-year fixed rate mortgage.
Sean, we're in a recession. We're going to start to see jobs evaporate. I'm a contractor, as you know. I build roads and bridges, and my home builders are telling me they're not going to start any more subdivisions because nobody can afford a home at 7.5%. It's just not going to happen. So we're in a recession. We're going to see these jobs evaporate. We've got to make a change here November 8th. JoeO'Dea.com, JoeO'Dea.com. I'm telling you, any resources I get right now, I'm going to use to text message and get people to turn out. If we get them to turn out here in the great state of Colorado, I'm going to be your next U.S. Senator, number 51.
Well, that would be phenomenal if it happens. The fact that now this is a 1 point race, 1.5, it's actually a 1.5 point race. Exactly. I mean, you are well within striking distance of Michael Bennet. Michael Bennet can lose. And whenever an incumbent is below 50 like he is, that's never a good sign for their reelection. Anyway, Joe, it's been a pleasure to get to know you throughout this campaign. We're fully supportive of your candidacy. We love your ideas. We think you'll be a strong conservative, and we hope you get over the finish line Tuesday night, 5 days from now.
Well, look forward to talking to you here Tuesday night, Sean. The momentum's swinging our way. I'm going to make sure we ride this red wave.
Appreciate you being with us, Joe O'Dea, the state of Colorado. Wow. Wish people understood the difference between the Republicans and Democrats. It's so dramatic. And the one thing we're seeing everywhere is all of these incumbent Democratic senators, none of them do a thing except say, okay, Chuck, whatever you want, Chuck. Yes, Mr. Biden. Yes, sir. They don't think for themselves. They just go along. They're rubber stamps for the most radical agenda ever put forward by any party in the country, and the consequences of which we're all paying for it every single day. Anyway, let's get to our phones. Let's go to Colorado. Matt is with us. Matt, how are you? Are you going to be voting for O'Dea?
I am. I agree with everything he has to say. You know, out here in Colorado, we have a major problem with crime. I'm a small contractor myself. I talk to numerous people, you know, throughout the day, weeks, months, and none of them hear about any of the Republican stuff. All of them, all they hear out here is Democrat stuff. It's always pushed on them. You know, I talk to my customers all the time and try to sway them to go the other way. But, you know, the elderly, they don't get out. They don't see how bad the crime and stuff is in Colorado. Polis has turned Colorado into Gotham City. You got people shooting up on the streets as you drive down them. You have encampments everywhere. Colorado is now the new California. It's pretty sick out here, you know, second in fentanyl.
Do you think there are enough people in Colorado, though, that are as aware of this as you are? Are they not angry at the economy? Are they not angry about open borders? Are they not angry about the crime? And are they not angry about, you know, parents being pushed out of the classroom and woke, you know, gender identity and CRT being forced on their kids and indoctrination versus education?
Well, everybody is, but the problem is we've had so many imports from Colorado move in, or California move in here, that, you know, they're voting for their same policies they say they were moving away from. So going right back to it.
Well, they're going to get the same result. It just will take a couple of years. You have a real opportunity here. I know it's a stretch. All of these races are that close, but it's possible. You know, people are asking me questions. Do you think so-and-so go? Yes, the answer is all of them can win, but you know what? They're all very close, so I'm not making the predictions they will. Anyway, appreciate it, Matt. All right, quick break to our phones. We'll go next. 800-941-SEAN, our number. You want to be a part of the program. We have 1 minute for Ron in Washington State. Ron, use your minute wisely is my recommendation.
Sean, hi. First time, long time. Patty Murray can lose. I need to hear you say that. I just heard you say that about
Patty Murray can absolutely lose. Tiffany Smiley can win that race. It is neck and neck. It is very close. And if you're out in the state of Washington, get everybody you know to vote. Believe that Tiffany Smiley can win because she can.
I do, and my family and my friends do. We have a big Hispanic and immigrant population here because of our agriculture. And how do you feel about them swaying from the Democratic to the Republican Party right now for this race?
You know, I've expected this shift, this demographic shift for a long time because the Democratic Party has evolved into the party of coastal elites, and they've gotten way out of touch with the hardworking men and women, the forgotten men and women in this country that make the country great. And the Republican Party, to its credit, starting with Donald Trump, have become the party of working men and women. And they're looking out for the people in this country. And that's what they should be doing. And there's been a dramatic shift. Now we're seeing it demographically, and I think that's a trend that's starting, and now will grow even further this election year. And hopefully, you know, over the years, it will take hold, and the Democrats will be identified as the elitists that they are, because that's who they are. That's what they represent. Anyway, appreciate it, Ron. But yes, Tiffany Smiley can win.
Newt Gingrich here, and I'd like to invite you to listen to my podcast, Newt's World. Most people know me as the former Speaker of the House, but I'm also a historian with a wide range of interests. I enjoy talking with fascinating people who are doing extraordinary things. I release 3 episodes of Newt's World every week, and I want to invite you to listen. Hopefully, we'll both learn something new. Listen to Newt's World on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast.